Okie dokie. There's the third edition of Donnie Vie, Uncensored, Uninhibited Q&As, where you ask the questions and I answer them. Let's start with your blog on DonnieVie.com was really good. It was written well, maintained your character and flowed. Most importantly, it was really interesting. Any chance you will be continuing this? About 50 more entries and you could have a book. What about that? Well, we started that out with my little sister was going to do the blog. She did the first few. What I would do is I would just like make an audio recording into my phone, and then I would send that to her, and she would transpose it or put it into text and add her own little flair and flavor to it, edit it down, and put it up. She fell off the radar, so I'm not the black sheep anymore, and so that's that. Instead of starting the blog back up, I started doing this instead. This was easier for me, and 50 more and I could have a book, 50 more of these and I have an encyclopedia. 2. Whose idea was it to keep that note lingering in the word all from beautiful things in the chorus? It is especially pronounced the third time it's repeated within the chorus. Where is it panned more to one side in the headphones? Well, of course, the lingering note, all, I'm not really sure what, but of course that would be me. That'd be my idea. As far as panned, I have no idea what you're talking about. That would be a question for Mike Dolan, who mixed and engineered and produced this record. So that would be his call. You'd have to ask him. So, 3. One of my favorite albums is Dissidents, and really enjoy the song High. I wanted to know how the effect of what sounds like a transmission from space was achieved towards the end of that song. Do you know or remember what was being said at the end of that song? I have no idea what was being said. It was a long time ago. I'm sure it was just jibber jabber. The effect on it was I held the guitar up and it was talking through my pickup. I've done that a couple of times on things. That's when the guitar is really loud and shit, and it's all mic'd up. You can hear everything, and so that's what I was doing. I was talking through the pickup. I don't remember what I was saying. I don't think it's very legible, and a lot of things I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, number 4. How did Derek come into Enough's Enough? Is it true Alex Kane played on the original tracks and the record label refused it, but then Derek replaced Alex and Derek went and re-recorded the guitar parts, and that's when the label signed the band? Is it true Derek played all the guitars on the debut album? Donnie just plays synthesizer. How many unreleased tracks with Derek are still in the vault? Okay, well, Derek came into the band. We had a manager. His name was Ron Fagerstein. He was like a frustrated musician with a lot of money. So what he would do is go around and sign up any acts, that looked like they had promise, and put him. He owned the recording studio that we did our record in, and so he had money, and Derek was one of his acts. He was trying to put a band together with Derek called the Dudes, with this dude Pete Comita and what's the drummer, Anthony Fox. And I remember going out to LA with them to try to find a singer, and it was just like one big long coke party. I think I was up the whole time, and they tried a bunch of singers, and none of them really cut it. None of them. I didn't think any of them were that good. One of them was, I forgot his name, Bob somebody or other. But he sounded kind of like Xander, but he looked like a businessman. So what happened was Ron consolidated his acts. He wasn't a big fan of Alex. Alex was very outspoken, wasn't much of an ass kisser, and Chip and I played the game. We knew what was going down. We knew we were not going to keep this guy, and we knew we were never signing his bullshit. But we played the game, and plus, he dangled the carrot, cocaine, the money, and if you disagreed with him, like your electric would be off, or your car would be missing, or some shit like that, all these crazy shit, because he owned everybody. But Alex wasn't a big cokehead, so he didn't do a lot of the partying and interacting and stuff with Ron. That's the biggest reason I think that. Plus, Derek was so great. Alex was still cutting his teeth on guitar. I liked him especially for his moves, his stage presence. The show was really good. Derek was obviously virtuoso. He's a great, unbelievable guitar player. I thought at that time that Derek's style of playing didn't fit the songs that I was writing, or the sound of this band, and I always thought that Derek should have a band that revolved around him, kind of like Van Halen, and later Derek and I wrote a bunch of tunes when we all tweaked out and stuff, and they did revolve around his guitar parts instead, but that wasn't the combination, that wasn't the formula for the band. We were shopping around, and we had a lot of interest, label interest. I don't know exactly the truth I just know what Ron had came back and told us, because I know he wanted to get rid of Alex all along, and put consolidate and get Derek in our band. Plus, I knew Derek and me together was going to be very toxic, and it was. As soon as Derek replayed the solos, and we got a deal right away. So I don't know if that was because of that or not. Is it true that I didn't play guitar on the first record? Well, originally started out to produce the record. We produced it. Ron got the job producing that record too, which was ridiculous and was crazy, because Chip and I produced all our own stuff, all the time, all the songs, and we basically produced that record too, because the songs were written, arranged, everything, and the only thing there was left to do them was record them again. And he ultimately decided and made a call that I wouldn't be playing guitar on the record, and so plus my vocals, the way he produced my vocals was called comping, where we took 12 times I'd have to sing through the song, and then they would comp, like grab a word from here, a word from there, this and that, and it was very sterile, and I didn't like it, and I didn't get to play the guitar on it. And when we went to the first time to New York to meet with Derek Schulman, the president, to get the first couple of songs mixed, to get New Thing and I forget what other song, to get those mixed and on the road so they could get those songs to pressed for singles and released as promotional and this and that. Derek was listening to the mix. We had Bob Clearmountain mixing it, and he was listening to the mix, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" He was pissed off too, and Ron was there, and Ron was just like, "Oh yeah, but I produced this." He goes, "Where's the fucking the vibe? Where's the cool sloppy guitar and all this and that shit?" And so that of course was me, and so make a long story short, we had to go back. Went back and fired Ron as manager and as producer, and I played all my guitar parts, which is on every song, and a couple of parts on every song, because I wrote the songs, in one day, and re-sang most of the record, then starting that night and into the next day. So it took 3 months to produce this record. I ended up coming back, playing all my guitar parts, and singing the whole record in a day and a half. And it sounded more like us. Now that you're signed to Cleopatra Records, are there any plans for Enough's Enough catalog to be released on vinyl, especially Animals with Human Intelligence? Also, will Cleopatra be re-releasing any music or videos that have not already been released already? Yeah, the deal with Cleopatra is I'm not sure their game plan yet. I know that they've now are licensing the entire catalog except for the very first 2 records, which we're in the process right now of getting those back from Warner Chappell. There was like another year left on the contract, but they're not really doing shit with them, and so with Chip and I have requested the contracts and seeing what we can do about getting those back right away and getting those over to Cleopatra too, because obviously those had the bigger hits on it, and those are the ones that are worth more money. And of course, then we're waiting on that to do the publishing deal, so we have all of our stuff. As far as vinyl goes, I would imagine if they release vinyl and they do stuff, I know they're going to be re-releasing everything and repackaging it and everything. Probably vinyl. And as far as that other stuff goes, there's some discs out there from bootleggers and shit of old demos and stuff from before we got the deal and stuff. And I mean, if you search hard enough, you can find those songs. But they haven't been released officially, so those were part of the bargain and part of the deal with Cleopatra, you know. And I do believe that their plan is to release a box set with all of that stuff on there as well. So there's probably another couple, 2 or 3 records worth of material there that will get released with the box set. I saw Enough's Enough open for Eddie Money at the Santa Barbara Bowl when the first album came out. Thought it was strange pairing. You guys came out with your look, and at the time it may not have been the warmest reception and a hot day as I bought your record the next day. Loved your version of Dear Prudence that you played that day. Did you think that was strange pairing, and was the strangest bill you've ever played on? Funny that today you and Eddie would have been a great bill with all the melodic rock. We could, with the sound and the style of Enough's Enough, with the songwriting and everything, we had like really heavy stuff like Finger on the Trigger or Master of Pain, shit like that. And then we have lighter stuff like, you know, For Now or Time to Let You Go, things like that. So we were able to always be able to play with anybody. We've with Eddie Money, as far as we were concerned, I didn't see anything strange about that. Maybe the look, but you know, that was ridiculous anyway. Eddie loved the band. I think he requested us to come out with them, and I do remember that particular show. It was an outdoor thing that was like an old-fashioned outdoor theater, like like what they used to have in the Roman days. It looked sort of like that. And I remember Eddie came out spinning his tambourine on his finger. I thought that was pretty cool. He had just cleaned up his act. I remember his wife was watching him like a hawk. We did a few shows with them. We did a couple shows with Pantera. We've done shows did a show with Debbie Gibson. Played on aircraft carrier with Debbie Gibson, and later that night was Billy Joel. We've played, with our tour, Badlands, Mr. Big, stuff like that. It's hard to pair this band up with a lot of other bands because we really didn't fit in any one category. We were heavy, but we were melodic, and that played to our best interest and not our best interest. It hurt us, and it was good for us. We were, like I said, we were able to play with anybody. If it was Eddie Money, all right, we're playing the Pussy set, and just like All Baby Loves You and stuff like that. And if we were playing with like Badlands or something like that, we're doing Finger on the Trigger, we're doing Bring It On Home, we're doing all the heavy shit, and we even wrote a couple of songs on stage, through the time that we were on tour, and like the words would be jumbled and stuff, but we wrote really heavy grooves because the guys would start playing. Chip would just start playing a groove, and Vic would join in, and Derek would, these guys could jam to anything. I was the guy that's, if I didn't know where we were at, I could fumble along on the guitar, but I could make stuff up vocal-wise. And so I just was making shit up. We did that with Nelson's After the Rain one show. They used to try to play Mother's Eyes, and they couldn't do it. And so, but we could be paired up with anybody, heavy, light, didn't matter. Whatever we were paired up with, that's the set we did that night. We would alter our set. Love Eddie Money, by the way. All right, your fan base in Japan has been huge for a long time, so why don't you do a cover of a Japanese song? I don't know any Japanese songs. Does anybody know any Japanese songs? Well, let alone a cover of it. I know I've heard a couple Japanese bands do covers of my stuff, but I don't know, man. I don't fucking know any Japanese songs. I don't have any of those instruments. But there's a link here that obviously that they want me to look at this, says this would be a good song for you to do. No offense against Japan. I love Japan. It's one of my favorite places. Greatest fans and stuff. They love us. I don't think I'll be doing, the cover things that I do it with this, St. Joe County Dopers. That's my outlet for doing certain covers, because I write so many songs, but I like to cover shit once in a while too, and it's not really practical for my own thing. Enough's Enough as well, so that's why I have this side project. I do it with my buddy Rob, and we just, as a matter of fact, we're working on another one right now, but as far as covers go, that's the only way that I do those. It's not practical for me to do covers on a record or anything. I write too many songs. People want to hear my next song. I've got a bunch of them, so why would I be covering something else? Will we be able to hear Mother's Eyes a cappella version, which was previously available on MySpace, in the future? I'd like to listen to it again. I believe, isn't that on Extra Strength? I did a record acoustic version of Strength, like all the songs on there. I'm not sure if that was, maybe that was the one, the a cappella version. That's just vocals, no music. I would do it right here, right now, but I don't feel like it. I don't, and that's not one of my favorite songs anyways. Never was a big fan of that song. I've seen pictures of you playing with the guys from Def Leppard, Joe Elliott on drums and yourself on vocals. When did you perform, and what song did you play, and what was their impression? Def Leppard is probably my favorite band that we played with. They were the nicest, coolest, most accommodating dudes, especially for how big they were and everything. It's a funny. We played with New Year's on New Year's at the Rosemont Horizon with them, and Ricky was at that time. Ricky was starting to get into drugs and things like that, and he was later than fuck for sound check. He would be, if we were in town, you know, a lot of times, you know, we'd be waiting for him for sound check, and so we're ready to do sound check, and the band loved us, so they wanted us on the shows. So I just asked, who was I talking to? One of the guitar players, something, said, "Hey man, can your guy, you know, play a real kit, a regular kit?" He's like, he goes, that would be difficult for him, but he goes, but Joe plays drums. And I said, well, Joe, would you play drums for? He goes, what song? I go, Revolution. He goes, yeah, sure. He got on there, played the drums, and so Ricky walked in like almost the end of the sound check of us playing Revolution, and of course people were taping it and videotaping it and stuff, and Ricky has to get in there. He's like playing on the floor tom, you know, like sits, you know, try to get in the video or something. I'm like, get the fuck out, you asshole. You blew it. And now it's Joe Elliott playing drums. And he was so cool. He was happy to do it. Later after the show, my little sister, Amy, was a huge Def Leppard fan. Aerosmith and Def Leppard, like huge fan. I guess Poison, she liked them too. And my other sister, Katie, was there, of course. It was New Year's. And I love Katie, and she's great and everything. She's just a whole different animal than Amy. And Amy's like, hey, you think I could meet Joe Elliott? And so I went and got him and walked all the way back to where our dressing room was, and Amy wasn't there. Now, and I was like, Joe, you got to meet my sister. She's just the biggest fan. You got to come and meet her and say hi. It would be mean so much to her. And so he walked all the way around the whole arena to come to our dressing room, because it was, you know, around this whole other way. And we get there, and she's not there. And but Katie was there, and so I introduced him to Katie, and Katie just goes, hey. And he was like, okay, well, that was interesting. I'm like, no, that's not the one. I said, that's not her. And we started walking away, and halfway down the hall, we seen Amy, and she was walking, and she had a couple of beers, and said, Amy, you want to meet Joe? And she jumped up on him with the arms and legs around him and almost knocked him down. He's a tall guy, but yeah, that's the one that wanted to meet you. You get it now. That was a super cool dude. Snowmobiling with Tim. That was a great show. New Year's Eve with Def Leppard. Since Cleopatra is known for having their artists do covers CDs, would you and Chip consider recording a Beatles cover CD acoustically, just you and Chip? I think this CD will garner a lot of attention and sell very well. You and Chip did a radio show in '93 where you guys played Beatle covers for hours. Fans to this day wish you guys would release this show on CD. Well, first of all, Chip and I aren't currently playing in a band. I appeared on his last record, Diet Enough's Enough, and he's played on my new single that's coming out, and he's in my new video for Party Time. And so we're friends again, thanks to Cleopatra. That's kind of brought us together, and so we're actually friends and speaking again. And but as far as now, I don't. I'd love to record a bunch of Beatles songs. I've recorded a couple of them. He really doesn't know them. He fumbles along, plays along. That's the way it always is, and with something, he's just following along. He's so good that he knows where the next chord would be. He'll anticipate it. So he just follows along, but he doesn't know any Beatles songs. He knows the few that we've played, and so there really wouldn't be any need for him. If I was doing a Beatles cover record acoustically, I don't even see what he would possibly be doing except sitting there playing the bass and and singing a couple of token harmonies. No, I don't see that happening. I think I did a bunch of things like that. There's a video from Japan where me and Ricky and Monaco's played a whole set in some was it bootleg video store. The reason we played there was because after we had played this concert that night at Club Cheetah, we were walking back to our hotel from there and stopped in the bootleg store. And what do they got playing on the bootleg video they were showing when we went in the store? It was our concert. We just got through playing, like we had just left there, and they've got it already. And I'm like, man, that hasn't been mixed. It hasn't been nothing's been done to that. It's a dry ass board mix. I said, hey, listen, do me a favor. I'll get you a proper video of the show with mixed and this and that, and I'll play. Well, I'll come in here and play tomorrow night. Do a short set in your store, and you can film it and shoot it. There's your bootleg shot in your store. For the deal was that me and John and Ricky can pick out as many of every video that we want, every bootleg. It's all bands and bootleg things, stuff you couldn't get back then. There wasn't YouTube and things like that then, and so that was a big deal. I mean, all these things I'd never seen. Some of these bands, even what they looked like playing live, and I ended up getting 3 giant duffel bags full of shit, and a lot of them couldn't even make it home. Some got sent home, this and that, and then eventually, you know, they burn out on those. But what was it? Oh, yeah, but that's the time where I did most of those Beatles songs. You hear more. You might hear a couple of them with the Dope Boys, but no, I don't see them us doing that. You'd have to license it, and they'd have to pay for it, and you know, there's no money to be made there. And why would we do that when we got so many songs, and I'm writing so many new songs? So that's for bands that have no songs. What's the story with 87 Days? Oh, you know, I've answered that a couple of times. That song, that pisses me off. What happened with that? That was, we were on tour with the Bullet Boys. And I got along with them. You know, I got along with Mark and everybody. I don't know why I was just, you know, I can get along with anybody. Because people right off the bat don't know what to make of me because I'm nuts. So it's like it's easier to make friends with me because I'm cool and chill to get along with and stuff. Unless, you know, I only shoot the bullets that I'm handed. You know, and there's maybe I have a reputation of being standoffish or a dick, but anybody that knows me or has met me will tell you that that's not the truth. I get along with everybody. I'm super cool to everybody, man. Unless you're a jagoff to me. But we were on tour with those guys, and so we're sitting in the back of our bus, or the back of their bus. I think it was our bus. The guitar player at the time was DJ Ashba, and he just came back to sit in the back of the bus and maybe do a couple lines or something. And we were playing the guitars and shit. And he was like, everybody, whoever we played with, there's always somebody from one of the bands would be, hey Donnie, let's write a hit. You know, it's like. Well, in other words, let me write a hit for you. I don't know about hits, but good songs. So he was playing some stuff, and just some basic, obvious chords and shit. And I was just chumming up and stuff, started to sing a melody to it. It actually was an old melody that I had for a song I never used called Just for Today that I was going to write for the AA meetings that I was going to. But that's their big thing, Just for Today. So I had that melody, and it fit to what he was playing, and so I was singing that. Da, 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 da. So I thought it would be cool as write it about the road, you know, write it about that tour, and it was the longest fucking tour in 87 days, and I'm coming home. 12 o'clock again,
and the lights are getting dim. I walk for miles to the microphone. I try to make it real, like it's really how I feel. The truth is, I don't even recognize the song. And I'm out of phase. I haven't slept in days. There's 80 down and 7 left to go. Oh, oh, baby, I wanna crawl home tonight. Yeah, baby, I wanna crawl home tonight. I'm beat up and inebriated, 87 days and I'm crawling home. Yeah.
So Mark, the singer, he got jazzed about hearing it. He came in later, you know, well into the fourth quarter of that song, and he came in and was singing a little bit of harmony with me, and he's like, it's like, oh, Bullet Boy's Enough's Enough song. This is a great idea, this and that, you know. And so he went, and I said, all right, well, you take the second verse. It was less work for me. And he went and he wrote his own lyrics for the second verse. And I still think that they didn't really fit perfectly in there, but we recorded that on the Man Cow show, I believe, in Chicago. We were on the radio, and we played it, and they recorded it on there, and that was the recording of it. So, but then, from what I understand, Bullet Boys, Mark's been playing that song every night in his concerts for I guess, 20 years now, claiming that he wrote the song, which is absolutely bullshit. I wrote that song, you know, but whatever. You know, he could say what he wants. It's like that's precedence in the business. You gotta fuck me around. All right, who came up with the title "Animals with Human Intelligence"? That was the label. That was 100% the label. I didn't even understand it at first when they said that would be the name of the album, and that was the Clive Davis album, though. So you don't argue with anything, and so I kind of understand that's basically what they thought of us, animals and human intelligence. Was producer Ron Fagerstein's initials on one of the crosses in New Thing video. Halfway through the video, there is a green cross with the initials RMF. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's his initials. At that time, we were pretty pissed off as we were being sued by him and trying to also get out of some other things and getting a new manager. We were pretty, that relationship was pretty much severed, and we were pretty pissed at him. And yeah, that was when they had the cross on there. He said, "Hey man, put those initials on there." So we did that. Yeah, that's him. I wonder if he ever saw it. I'm on, this is question 15. I've actually done 5 more than I usually do. 16. Whose idea was it for the Dreamscape at the beginning of Beautiful Things album? Did you have that particular piece in mind, or did it develop after you decided to go with the concept of the Dreamscape? Well, when I asked Paul Gilbert to play on a song, to play on Beautiful Things, I sent it to him. He listened to it. He goes, "Yeah, I'll play on it." And so he sent him the tracks, the stems, and there were certain parts that I wanted him to play, and some of it he could do. I wanted him to do his own thing to it, and that one took us by surprise completely, because we wasn't counting on him playing anything in that down, down, down. It's kind of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory intro, down, 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 and what he sent back, when I asked him how's it coming, he's like, a lot of notes have been played. So I didn't know what he meant until we got the thing back, and I remember Mike was sitting there. I'm like, how does his track sound? He goes, his tracks are great, but he said there's some crazy shit there that I don't even know what to do with this, the intro thing. And I was listening to it. I go, well, that's Paul Gilbert, and that's what he does. And you know, you better find a fucking way to use it, or forget about him. You know, being, you know, loving the band, or loving what I do, and or ever playing on anything again. So that's Paul. That's when you ask Paul Gilbert to play, that's the thing that people know him mostly by, not just playing 12-string and you know, the recopping my guitar parts on a song. And you know, Mike he didn't know what the fuck to make of it, and he was dreading mixing that song just because of that. And I just thought, well, listen, why don't we take that and put a cool effect on it, and then I'll counteract the lines with a keyboard thing. So he's going doodle doodle, and I'm going the opposite way, doodle doodle doodle. And when he goes the other way, I'm coming back down with different stuff, and I threw some ahs or oohs or something in the beginning there, and just built that up and started adding things. And then Mike's got it. He started getting into it and got the idea. Then he started panning it around, and you know, through whatever surround sound and shit. And then before you know it, it became a beautiful thing. I thought it was great the way it came out, and Paul just kind of leads us down the rabbit hole for that record, and that was all him, man. That was his idea. We just got creative and figured out how to use it. Alrighty. I really want to learn how to play Harlia on acoustic guitar. I was wondering if you could help me out with the tabs, tuning, etc. Thank you. Harlia. It's not even an acoustic guitar song. I imagine if you got a couple $100, I could send it to you. I wouldn't even know how to play that right now. to your song Diana, Cotton Candy Rainbows. You've mentioned Diana in a recent interview. Can you tell us who this is? Diana is like the coolest chick I've ever met in my life. I'd met her right before I went into the hospital, and we became really good friends. And she came to visit me every single day when I was in the hospital. She just was sweet and wonderful, and I love her to death. She loves me, and she took care of me when I got out of the hospital, and took me, and I started staying here, and she's just been taking care of me ever since. And she's probably one of the most wonderful people I've ever met, and probably one of the most wonderful people anyone's ever met. Everyone loves her, except probably her ex. Well, he probably even still loves her, but he fucked up. So that's who she is. Donnie. YouTube has the following 3 clips of what appears to be yours and Chip's performance in Japan. 2 questions. Do you have a recollection of the show? Year? Why only 2 of you and not the entire band? That was the first time we went over there. It was just Chip and I, because it was a promotional tour. We weren't going there to tour with the band yet. It was promotional to set up the record. They had a couple of performances set up. One of them was this big record in store or something, which is the one where it's Chip's got the sign on his bass and shit, and my microphone's falling down and shit. And we had with him, and Graham Bonnet played after us, and but that was crazy. That's the first time we had been to Japan, and when we got off the airplane, it was like the Beatles. There was like millions of Japanese fans there, and they following us everywhere we went. Then we got to that thing, and it was just like screaming and all this shit, and it was overwhelming. We did that performance. Then we did another one for a Japanese TV show where there was just it was like a sound stage, and they had just a electric piano and a little setup for Chip and an acoustic guitar, and they just asked us if we'd play a few songs, and in those days Chip and I, we brought an acoustic guitar to everything. We'd always play we going on the radio. If we're going on somebody's show, I'd bring a guitar, or they have a guitar or something. We'd always play something on everybody's show. That's just how we rolled. And so they were counting on us to do that. I think we did Innocence and Right by Your Side. I think Marianne Lost Her Baby. And that's the one where we're on that little show where I'm playing the piano and stuff. That was really... They did that really well. That was a good production, and it came off well. I thought it was pretty good. I was a pretty little boy in those days, huh?
Right by your side, when the gray turns to blue, I'll be right by your side for the rest of my life. Marianne lost her baby, and now it drives her crazy. Marianne lost her baby, her whole world has gone crazy. There goes your innocence. Who's to say what's right or wrong? 'Cause it's your innocence, and when you give it up, it's gone. And in your heart, in your mind, if you feel it's the time, you're innocent. she's gone.
Alright, and what was the other one? Did you guys perform just the 3 tracks, or was it more? All 3 tracks are pure good and sound fantastic, and I would love to locate the entire concert. That was it. Just those songs. Whatever they got on YouTube, that's what we played. I don't remember exactly, but you know, I've seen those 3, and I've never seen any more, so I don't imagine we did any more. Otherwise, there'd be them too. The song "It's No Good." When did you guys write that, and who's that about? It's No Good? Well, I wrote that song before I was in Enough's Enough. That was one of my, I wrote a few songs before I was in Enough's Enough, believe it or not. And that was one of them. And that song was about this chick that I was going out with at the time. Her name was Kitty. There's another song called Kitty. Poor Kitty. So Kitty was the one going for the transformation from Donnie Vandevelde to Donnie Vie. It was like a big, huge change for her that, all of a sudden I wasn't home anymore. All of a sudden I'm out, playing, rehearsing every night, doing a couple of gigs here and there, and that song is pretty much tells the story of what we were dealing with there. And so, poor old Kitty. So, I figured it'd be fitting to just play that one. It's a little something different from the rest of these Q&As. It's no good. On the roof with the shirt clutched between my fingers, I hold her. Dark and alone on the roof as we lay there breathing slower. It doesn't matter if the world's not turning, we wouldn't have to think of being somewhere else. Without life, without love, it's no good. She goes to work with the pain, and it makes her lose her temper. I haven't worked for some time, and I'm slowly getting after. Says I don't love her and just goes crazy. The tears all over and I get lazy, yeah. Without life, without love, it's no good. Needing a space of my own is healthy. All she can think is I'm up to something. Cheating, maybe spending her dough. Chasing me all over town just to tell me I don't matter. I turn away like a rock. These are actions burning anger. When we're at home, she's a fire. thank you for tuning in to Donnie Vie Q&A. Keep sending your questions. We'll keep doing these. Remember, uninhibited, uncensored, and unedited. Peace out.